I really like it when a family car has clearly been influenced by someone who has kids. Take, for example, the fact that you can adjust the rear bench in this Ford Kuga to give you more boot space if someone has a bike, or the rubber strips that pop out of the doors to stop your little darlings whacking the side of your also Ford little darling off the side of a wall. They're just some of the clever things that have gone into this PHEV version of Ford's Kuga. It's been around for quite a while, just like the Volkswagen Tiguan. In fact, that car is pretty much about to be replaced. I'll be on the international launch of the new Tiguan in a few weeks' time. But I think there's still life in the old Kuga dog yet. I mean, Ford, they're doing away with the Focus, the Fiesta, the Mondeo. What have they got left? Well, they've got the Puma, which they do really, really well. They've got the fully electric Explorer coming later on this year. But if you don't want to go electric, fully electric, this car will do up to 60 kilometers on a single charge. That charge at home, if you're paying, generally what is about 38 cents a kilowatt hour currently, it'll cost you a fiver to charge it and drive it on pure EV if you wish. You don't even have to charge at home because you can actually top this battery up with the petrol engine. It's a 2.5 Duratec, it's front wheel drive, 225 brake horsepower, and well, you can mix and match what way you want the car to drive. If you have enough battery charge in that 14 kilowatt hour battery, then you can just drive in EV mode. Now, there are times it will spin up the front wheels, particularly if it's cold, particularly if it's wet, because there's a lot of torque now going through that said front wheel. This car is well into the 50s because it has a winter pack which gives you heated seats in the rear and the front, heated steering wheel, and then it has kind of a tech pack which is a mix of head-up display, better adaptive headlights, not matrix but work in a kind of similar fashion. And there is a non-PHEV version of the Kuga as well, but because of the VRT being lower on this, it just doesn't make any sense to buy it. But again, with families in mind, it is a really practical car. The boot is very, very generous. There's plenty of rear legroom, even if you have the front seats all the way back. And it's got that higher up seating position that people like in a crossover. So there's a lot to be said for this being a family car, and it's probably one of the reasons why it's one of the Ford models you do see a lot of on Irish roads. It's not cheap, that's the thing. You can now buy a Volkswagen ID4 fully electric, cheaper to run, for similar money to this, and that's a really good spec version because Volkswagen have, as I'm sure you've seen, knocked quite a few quid off their electric range. People who like physical buttons, well, Ford always have you covered in that respect. Now, that will probably change with the Explorer, but there's loads of physical buttons if you like manipulating things that way. The screen, it's kind of small by today's standards, very similar to what we have seen in the Focus, and you have your CarPlay and things going on with that. There's reversing cameras. The displays are good, they're very bright, very blue, and it does tell you how much of your journey has been in electric. So this trip that I've been driving so far today is 4.1 kilometers. Pretty much half of that, just over 2, has been in full electric. If you don't charge the car, it will hover somewhere around 8 to 9 litres per 100 kilometers, higher on the motorway. But if you do charge it and you're using a combination of petrol and electric, it's 5 litres per 100 kilometers and well below. And obviously you can drive in zero emissions then if you have the charge. It does have that kind of weighted thing going on with the steering wheel, much like the Mustang Mach-E. It just makes the steering feel a bit heavier, I suppose, to make it feel like it's geared towards a driver enjoyment type of thing. Yeah, okay, whatever you're into. It has an upgraded sound system, although they're not marked on the speakers, which I think is odd. Normally they have a little B&O thing going on. Not there for some reason. Generally a comfortable car. The odd bump unsettles it a little bit. Probably extra weight caused by the batteries. lot of rubber on the tires, so I'm not quite sure why that is, and it's not all the time, but just the odd pothole, it just kind of isn't quite sure what to do with it. And there's the car trying to slide on a very greasy, cold, it's only like 5-degree outside temperatures today road, so just watch out for that. In summary though, this is still a really good family offering. As I mentioned, all the space just makes you get out of holes and trouble with the different challenges that carrying all members of the family involved and their bits and things that they need brought with them. I think it looks reasonably good. It's kind of got that frog face going on the front, side profile ain't too bad. Nice rear end on it. You got the chrome tailpipes over the back, you know, in the right colour. I mean, Ford do charge you different prices for the different paint colours depending which one you like. That beautiful red that Ford have, that's the most expensive. That comes in at almost €900, but it does look very nice. It's kind of similar to that soul red that Mazda have. If you're after a family vehicle, yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, it is on the higher side of the price. It's kind of always been the case for the Kuga, but I suppose that's just even more kind of shown up now by the different models that are on the market and available. But if you like the oval badge and you're not ready for electric for whatever reason, you're just not there, then the Kuga PHEV is something to consider. As I mentioned, I'd just be trying to get some level of discount on it with so much else on the market these days. Use it to your advantage if you can. If you can negotiate some sort of discount for this car, it's going to feel like it's just on the better value side. Main issue for me is the price, but everything else, it does very, very well.